Math camp was the only one willing to pull out a phone and actually videotape that, so we have her to thank. I also want to thank her for this talk here today, Rally for Roatan. I had an experience. So yesterday I shared a technique in the classroom. Today I'm sharing you an experience where I got to go to another country and witness math education in the classroom. And so I thought it would be cool to share with you here. And then when we say rally, there's also a petition for help for the schools, because as you can imagine, an island off the coast of Honduras does need some help with their education. So what you see here, that's my wife and I celebrating the 5th anniversary, it's now up to 7, of her swim school, Swim to Shore, right? I keep reminding her that marrying a guy with the last name Bottom and having to name it Sink to the Bottom would not have brought her any business. So she's fortunate enough, I think, to marry me. I keep reminding her of that. But you see in the upper left-hand corner is the National Association of Swim Schools, and there were several of them at the national conference. The president, so they're NCTM. The president was there and talking about how they did this service trip last summer to Roatan, which just happens to be some of the best scuba diving in the country or in the world. And so their family did that, went down there. She made connections with the schools, and so brought these swim schools down as a service trip to bring supplies to some very needy schools, and then also introduce fitness education, and you'll see some of that. So these are some of the darling Honduran kids on the island of Roatan. I just wanted to share with you here some of the things, and how much different it is than here. So this was my first interaction with the school. This is how we were greeted. You know you're not in America when young kids are allowed to stand on the roof and greet the adults. But this is the way it works. They were very excited to see us. We went to 6 schools total. So we went to suburban schools and took a 7-mile drive on a dirt road through a jungle to get to Crawfish Rock. For those of you that went to Disneyland, I'm telling you, after driving that road in a rental car, a Hyundai, on an unpaved road through the jungle, Indiana Jones ride and Mr. Toad's Wild Ride ain't got nothing on what we went through. It was crazy. And then you also see sometimes they're building schools in buildings that are already there. So there were some schools that had no playground whatsoever. That was the staircase from the street. You see the road way down there? And so that's what we were hauling up, and that's how the kids go to school, and that's the front of the school right there. So there's literally no place for them to do a whole lot. We went to a school in the literally in the middle of the jungle. And one of the things I noticed here is there weren't a lot of windows. You see this chain link fence? That's actually the window there, because they're too poor to run air conditioning. And when you're in 85 degrees with 85% humidity, windows and closed doors are not a good thing. So very open air. But what you'll see is that was one of the few high school classes I got to look at. And it's not close enough for you to see, but they are calculating the surface area of a sphere. Yes! And so what you see on this little necklace of the kid is their technology, which is that calculator, if you can see that there. I'll come back to that story in a moment. But this was a house right next to the school, so you can see the living conditions of a lot of the people there. And so what we were doing is bringing supplies. Those tables were full. And that was like 5 minutes after we arrived. And the kids were able to go through, pick stuff up. It was school supplies as well as simple hygiene necessities like toothbrushes and soap. And then on the right, one of the swim school owners happens to be the daughter of a big steel magnate on the East Coast, and just sent down $10,000 down to Roatan, and they bought desks for 2 of the schools. So that's unloading desks down there. And then it was also the activities. So the kids were into it. So I guess they don't do a lot of recess and PE, and a lot of their day is only half a day anyway. So they love the games, and you see my studly wife there in the hat demonstrating push-ups, because these kids had never done a push-up in their life. So that was there. And then the last Saturday, or the end of the week, there was a big celebration, swim celebration, because these are swim school owners. And so there's a lot of activities and education. And you would think, I was thinking we were wasting our time with swim schools down there, because it's like an island. And they all swim. And it turns out a lot of them were fish. And a lot of them didn't know how to survive a float. Like they would go in the water, but if they went any further than shoulder deep, they were in trouble. So, and this boy loved it. And That's my wife, and she just fell in love with him and he with her. So, and then when you look at it, we met some really great kids, brought some educational games. The big thing were backpacks. And just to let you know how needy they are, the teachers, when they went out, the teachers were looking at us and said, what about us? Teachers get paid $500 a month for the job in Roatan. And while it's a lot less expensive than here, at least the tourist spots are not. So, so they were in great need too. And then some of the novelties they really loved. The kids loved the hula hoops. What we found out too is that they don't have photographs of themselves. So the big thing was to take pictures and then turn the phone around and show the kid the picture of themselves. It's not like our kids. And then the big thing I realized, this kid was Spanish speaking. I don't know much Spanish, but I knew the word for red, rojo. So I showed him how to take video. So I took a video of him hula hooping, and if that is a verb, hula hooping. And then I showed him how to hit the red button and videotape me. I didn't put the videotapes here because it's kind of sad. So I don't know if he was laughing more at the videotape or my epic fail at trying to hula hoop, but he did far better than I did. And then the universal language. A room full of math teachers would say it is?
Math.
Math. It's not. It's football. And so we brought soccer balls, and they were the big hit. And what you see are a bunch of teenage boys that were standing across the street wondering what was going on, because a lot of the kids don't go to school past 6th grade. And so only something like 30% of the kids there never make it to school. But they saw the footballs, they came over, and a lot of the other family members, you can see diving right in, and it became U.S. versus Honduras in the World Cup really quickly. A lot of fun. Speaking of pictures, so this gal here, the American gal in the background, is not a swim school owner. She owns a sports photography business, and so she was there as a historian. She was there the summer before, took all these pictures, came back, and she had the pictures printed out, and they were going back to some of the schools again, same schools. So she was giving out photographs to people she recognized. She gave them to here, and you'll see this woman she's looking through, and she's starting to cry because she got to one photograph. Remember, these people don't have photographs of themselves. The parents don't have photographs of their kids. This woman lost her son to a stabbing between the 2 summers, and now she was just given the only photograph she has of her dead son. So it was really a touching moment. I cannot stand up here and not introduce you to Dennis Castro. So we're in the bay, Half Moon Bay, and they have, here we have public playgrounds. There they put a sailboat out in the middle of the bay and anchor it, and then tip the mast over, and it's a rope swing out into the bay. So you swim out to the boat, and you just do this rope swing out there, and we're out there, and we see Peter Pan leading the Lost Boys. I mean, this kid is like the ringleader of all these kids just out there playing. And then we're running the swim celebration on the beach that Saturday, and he's helping haul all this gear, and we quickly realized he's like one of the young leaders. I told him, I said, you're gonna be mayor of this town here, this island, someday. Then we go to dinner that night, and who happens to be our waiter? And at 15 years old, our bartender. So we asked for drinks, and he goes, I don't know how to make that. We asked for another one, he goes, I know how to make that, and came back, and they were made. His mom is the cook, his aunt is the dishwasher, and his grandfather cooks the tortillas, but the restaurant is owned by a guy that lives in Chicago. So, so we asked him, I said, are you okay with all of us coming down here, just like, running through your island? He goes, well, if you guys weren't here, what else would we do? Because this boy works 2 jobs. He works this at night. In the mornings, he works snorkeling and scuba diving tours, and then during the day, he goes to school. Okay, yep. All right. So, that's good because I'm almost at the end here. That's me, got in front of a class, and I actually got to teach a lesson. I saw there was a math class. You heard I was a math teacher, asked me if I wanted to teach, and up there was the surface area formula, so I had her translate to these kids, and I drew the sphere. So it is the universal language. You draw a sphere, they went yes and gave me the word in Spanish, and the hemisphere, and then the circle, and I asked and I had them take a finger vote how many circles they thought would cover the surface of the sphere, and most of them were holding up 2. And of course, I pointed to the formula that was on the board and said how their teacher was very, very smart because it was actually 4. And that's me pointing to her, and they're all laughing and applauding their teacher because she's so smart. But they needed an American to come in and validate this. So, but it was a lot of fun teaching that. I'm going to post this online. The second time I'm not going to show it, but I actually caught a video of an elementary school lesson. This woman is teaching single-digit subtraction, and it is bomb. She is kicking butt. We are doing all sorts of modalities. We're going 6 minus 2 and pulling kids up and doing it, you know, kids standing there. We're doing it with manipulatives and popsicle sticks. We're doing our fingers. We're clapping. And I'm just thinking this is awesome. 6 minus 4, this is great way to teach it. And then you find out it's 4th grade in Roatan. We teach a lot earlier here, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, see a lot earlier. So, and then to think that a good portion of kids after 6th grade might not continue. So here's the final pitch. I have now added a page onto my website. On the far right here, you see a Rally for Roatan. If you go there, it'll talk about the experience, and then there is a list of needs that this woman, Natalie Forbes, who is the director of the district there for Roatan's 67-something schools, she gave me this list. Particularly what they're looking for is math textbooks. They're looking for math textbook series. Okay, so they don't want just this and that. They want for a school. If you look at the numbers, I posted the spreadsheet online. Like a school needs less than 100 textbooks to outfit them all for all grade levels combined. These are not large schools. 1,500 textbooks would cover the whole island, or supply the whole island. So 2 things I wanted to share, and then I'm all done. One is there is a quarter container stationed in Oregon that the Rotary Club down there ships down regularly. It's there in going down mid-September. We are not asking you, I'm not asking a bunch of Twitter math folks to go buy a bunch of textbooks for this place. I'm talking to people who are now in the midst of adopting a lot of Common Core materials, and there may be a lot of old English-speaking textbooks that no one is ever going to look at again, and rather than recycle, burn, trash, whatever the case may be, that there are some kids in Roatan that way you could actually change their lives by you letting them use them instead of trashing. Does that make sense? Okay. I already have had contact from this. This has only been up for 2 days. I've had several people contacting me about this. Let me know, and I will find a way to cover the shipping costs because we have a lot of benefactors rallying behind Roatan. So if you have those materials, put them in a box, send it to me. On the website is also the name and the address you want to make sure you put on there, or the name on the box, so that if it gets to Roatan, it gets to the right people. And as you can tell, Roatan is my new favorite. Thank you very much.